The ultimatum rain pattered against the skylights of Ariel Neves's laboratory as she carefully measured the extract from the rare bloom beneath her microscope. The flower, a delicate species she'd discovered in the Amazon basin, held properties that could revolutionize treatment for neurodegenerative diseases. If only she had time to complete her research before the funding ran out. "Dr. Neves, your 4 o'clock is here," her assistant Maya called from the doorway. Ariel glanced at her watch with a frown. She had no appointments today. There must be a mistake. He's quite insistent. Says it's regarding your funding situation. Ariel's heart quickened. Her grant appeal to the National Science Foundation had been rejected last week, leaving her with barely 3 months of operational costs. Any potential funding source deserved at least a conversation. "Send them in," she said, hastily removing her lab coat and smoothing her curly hair. The man who entered moved with the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to controlling rooms. Tall with sharp features and calculating eyes, he wore an impeccably tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly lab expenses. "Dr. Neves." He extended his hand. "Xavier Kane." Ariel froze. Everyone in the scientific community knew Xavier Kane, the reclusive tech billionaire whose innovations in artificial intelligence had transformed everything from medicine to space exploration. His company, Kane Innovations, was valued at over $200 billion, and he was notoriously selective about his public appearances and investments. "Mr. Kane," she recovered quickly, shaking his hand. "This is unexpected." "I prefer directness to small talk, Dr. Neves." His voice was smooth, almost melodic, but devoid of warmth. "Your research on plant-based treatments for neurodegenerative disorders is groundbreaking. I've been following it for some time." Ariel gestured toward her small office adjoining the lab. "Please sit. Would you like coffee or tea?" "No, thank you." He settled into the chair across from her desk, his posture perfect. "I understand your funding has been cut." She stiffened. "News travels fast. I make it my business to know things." His eyes scanned the lab visible through the glass walls of her office, the outdated equipment, the carefully organized specimens, the whiteboards filled with molecular diagrams. "Your work deserves better resources." Hope flickered in Ariel's chest. "Are you offering funding, Mr. Kane?" "I am offering a solution that benefits us both." He placed a slim leather portfolio on her desk. "I want to fully fund your research, unlimited resources, state-of-the-art facilities, a team of top scientists at your disposal, and guaranteed publication paths for your findings." The amount listed on the document he slid across to her made Ariel's breath catch. It was more than 10 times her previous grant, enough to sustain her research for years to help millions suffering from conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. "What's the catch?" she asked, immediately suspicious. Offers this generous always came with strings. Xavier Kane's expression remained impassive. "In exchange, you will carry my child." The words hung in the air between them. Ariel stared, certain she'd misheard. "Excuse me? I require an heir," he continued, as if discussing a business acquisition. "Someone to continue my legacy at Kane Innovations. I have no interest in marriage or romantic entanglements, but I need a child with superior genetic potential. Your intelligence, your resilience, your genetic profile, they're ideal complements to mine." Ariel stood abruptly, her chair rolling back to hit the wall. "You can't be serious." "I'm always serious, Dr. Neves. The arrangement would be clinical, of course. IVF procedures, the best prenatal care, generous compensation beyond the research funding." "And the child?" she asked, voice tight with indignation. "Would be raised by me. You could have whatever level of involvement you desired, from none to co-parenting, though I assume your research would remain your priority." Ariel's hands trembled with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "Let me understand this correctly. You want me to be a surrogate for your genetically superior heir in exchange for research funding? As if I'm some kind of broodmare you can purchase?" A flicker of surprise crossed Xavier's face. Perhaps no one had spoken to him this way in years. "This is a business proposition, Dr. Neves. Clinical and mutually beneficial. Your research helps humanity. My legacy continues. Emotions need not enter into it." "Emotions?" Ariel laughed, the sound sharp and humorless. "This isn't about emotions, Mr. Kane. This is about basic human dignity, about not reducing women to their reproductive capacity." "I'm not reducing you to anything," he countered, his voice remaining measured. "I'm acknowledging your extraordinary mind. That's precisely why I'm offering to fund your research alongside this arrangement. Ariel walked to the window, gathering her thoughts as she watched raindrops race down the glass. The funding would save her research, potentially help millions suffering from devastating diseases. Part of her, the pragmatic scientist, understood the cold logic of his proposal. But another part, the woman who had fought to be taken seriously in male-dominated laboratories, who had endured dismissal and discrimination throughout her career, bristled at being seen as a means to an end. She turned back to face him. "No," Xavier blinked. "No? That's correct, no." He leaned forward slightly. "Perhaps you should take some time to consider." "I don't need time, Mr. Kane." Ariel's voice was steady now, her resolve strengthening. "My research is important to me, vital even, but not at the cost of compromising who I am and what I believe. Many would consider this a generous offer. Then, perhaps you should make it to someone else." Something shifted in Xavier's expression, a minute change that suggested she had genuinely surprised him. He studied her face as if encountering a puzzle he couldn't immediately solve. "Your principles will cost you your research," he said finally. "The funding runs out in what, 3 months? Then years of work, potential treatments for millions of patients. All lost." The weight of his words pressed against her chest. Ariel thought of the patients in clinical trials whose symptoms had improved with her early treatments, of the letters from families desperate for hope. "Perhaps," she conceded, "but some prices are too high even for the greater good." Xavier Kane stood, straightening his already immaculate suit. "I admire conviction, Dr. Neva, as rare as it is these days." He retrieved the portfolio from her desk. "Should you reconsider, my offer stands for 2 weeks. He moved toward the door, then paused. "For what it's worth, I wasn't attempting to insult you. Quite the opposite." After he left, Ariel sank into her chair, the magnitude of what she'd just refused crashing over her. She had likely sacrificed her life's work. Treatments that could help countless people, all because she refused to be part of a billionaire's clinical breeding program. Yet as she looked around at her small, underfunded lab, at the whiteboards filled with molecular structures that might never become medicines, she knew she would make the same choice again. Some lines couldn't be crossed even for the greater good. Her phone buzzed with a text from Maya. Was that the Xavier Kane? What did he want? Ariel typed back, "To own a piece of my soul." I declined. She returned to her microscope, focusing on the delicate bloom beneath the lens. 3 months remained to find alternative funding. 3 months to save her research without selling herself in the process. The rain continued to fall, washing the world clean outside her window while inside, Ariel Neves faced the most difficult decision of her career, with her dignity intact but her future uncertain. Unexpected alliance. 2 weeks had nearly passed since Xavier Kane's visit. Ariel stared at the final notice on her desk, effective the end of the month. Her lab space would be reallocated to more viable research endeavors. The university's euphemism for projects with actual funding. I've applied for every possible grant, Maya said, placing a sympathetic hand on Ariel's shoulder. Nothing's coming through fast enough. Ariel nodded, exhaustion etched on her face. She'd barely slept since refusing Xavier's offer, spending nights writing desperate applications and emails to potential investors. The pharmaceutical companies had shown interest, but wanted controlling rights to any discoveries, a devil's bargain that would put life-saving medications out of reach for those who needed them. Most start packing the non-essentials, Ariel instructed, hating every word. We have 10 days. As Maya left, Ariel's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Your parking garage. 10 minutes. Curious despite her wariness, Ariel took the elevator down. A sleek black electric car waited, Xavier Kane leaning against it with casual elegance. You're persistent, she remarked, keeping her distance. Persistence built my company. He studied her face. You look tired. Losing your life's work will do that. Ariel crossed her arms. If you're here to see if desperation has changed my answer, it hasn't. Xavier straightened. Actually, I'm here with a different proposal. He opened the car door. Join me for lunch? Every instinct told Ariel to refuse, yet curiosity won out. 1 hour, she agreed, sliding into the buttery leather seat. They drove to a secluded restaurant overlooking the bay, where the maitre d' led them to a private dining alcove. After ordering, Xavier placed a tablet on the table between them. "I've been reviewing your research more thoroughly," he began. "Your approach to molecular bonding in plant compounds is revolutionary." Ariel's eyebrows rose. Most funders barely skimmed her abstracts, let alone understood the science. "I came to you with a flawed proposition," Xavier continued, surprising her further. "I approached our potential relationship as transactional rather than collaborative, which was short-sighted." "That's one word for it," Ariel replied dryly. A hint of a smile touched his lips. "My new proposal, Kane Innovations, establishes a joint research venture with you as equal partner. Full funding, state-of-the-art facilities, complete publication freedom, and equitable profit sharing from any treatments developed." He slid the tablet toward her. The contract displayed was everything she'd dreamed of and more. "What's the catch this time?" she asked, though her heart raced at the possibilities. "I want you to spend time with me," Xavier said simply. "Not as a surrogate, but as a colleague. I believe we could create something remarkable together, professionally speaking. If personal compatibility develops as well," he trailed off, "I'm merely asking that you leave that door open to possibility." Ariel studied him, searching for manipulation in his expression. "Why the change of approach?" Xavier was silent for a moment, seeming to debate something internally. Finally, he unbuttoned his left cuff and rolled his sleeve back, revealing a strange pattern of faint blue lines beneath his skin, following his veins. "Denbardi syndrome," he explained. "A rare genetic condition affecting approximately 12 people worldwide. Progressive neurological degradation with a life expectancy of roughly 5 more years in my case." Ariel's medical knowledge kicked in. "There's no treatment." "None yet," he agreed, rebuttoning his sleeve. "Hence my urgency regarding an heir. My father had it, as did his father. Our time is limited, but our minds remain sharp until the end." The revelation shifted something in Ariel's perception of this enigmatic man. His clinical approach to reproduction suddenly made more sense, not as cold calculation, but as practical necessity against a ticking clock. "I'm sorry," she said genuinely. "I don't want pity," he replied without heat, "just understanding of my timeline. Your research on cellular regeneration could benefit neurological conditions like mine, though I'm not asking you to save me. That's not part of our arrangement." "And what exactly is our arrangement?" Ariel asked. "A research partnership first and foremost. As for the rest," he met her gaze directly. "I find you intellectually stimulating, morally courageous, and aesthetically pleasing. I'd like the opportunity to explore whether we might be compatible in ways that would make my original proposal less clinical." Ariel couldn't help but laugh. "That's possibly the least romantic expression of interest I've ever heard." "Romance isn't my strong suit," Xavier admitted, and for the first time she glimpsed vulnerability beneath his composed exterior. Later that evening, Ariel stood in her lab, the eviction notice crumpled in her hand. The practical choice was clear. Working with Xavier would save her research, potentially help millions, including those with conditions like his. The personal aspect remained complicated, but he wasn't demanding commitment, merely openness to possibility. She texted a single word to the number he'd provided. "Yes." Within days, her research operation was transferred to a gleaming facility on the Kane Innovations campus. Her team, expanded now with additional brilliant scientists, marveled at equipment they'd only dreamed of using. Xavier had kept his word about the professional aspects of their arrangement. The personal aspects developed more gradually. They began with weekly research updates that evolved into dinners discussing everything from bioethics to classical literature. Xavier's brilliant mind, usually concealed behind his reserved demeanor, revealed itself in these conversations. He listened to her ideas with genuine interest, challenging her thinking while respecting her expertise. One evening, after a breakthrough in their plant-based neural regeneration research, they celebrated with champagne on the facility's rooftop garden, a space Xavier had designed specifically for growing Ariel's rare botanical specimens. To revolutionizing medicine, Xavier toasted, his usually stern features softened in the twilight. And to unexpected partnerships, Ariel added, studying him over her glass. "Does this mean you no longer find my original proposal completely reprehensible?" he asked, a rare hint of humor in his voice. I find it less offensive coming from someone I know rather than a stranger making a business transaction, she conceded, though I'm still not offering to bear your child. Yet, Xavier said quietly, his gaze holding hers with unexpected warmth. Ariel didn't contradict him, surprised to realize the possibility no longer seemed unthinkable. Something was growing between them. Something neither had anticipated when they first met in her small university lab just months ago. Hidden origins. 3 months into their partnership, Ariel faced a dilemma she'd managed to avoid throughout her professional career. The rare plant extract they were testing required specific lighting conditions that made concealing her unique physiology impossible. Under certain light frequencies, particularly the ultraviolet spectrum needed for their current experiments, her skin revealed its natural undertone, a subtle lavender hue that deepened to purple when her emotions ran high. For years she'd used makeup and careful avoidance of such lighting conditions to hide her non-human heritage. Tonight, working late after the rest of the team had left, she knew she could no longer delay the crucial experiment, nor could she continue hiding her true nature from Xavier if their personal relationship continued developing. She found him in his office, reviewing data projections. "I need to show you something," she said without preamble, her heart pounding. "Before we proceed further with the UV testing protocols." Xavier followed her to the specialized testing chamber. Once inside, she activated the UV lighting sequence and watched his expression carefully as the purple undertones of her skin became visible, most prominently along her cheekbones and forearms. "I'm half Centaurian," she explained, the words rushing out. "My mother was among the first diplomatic delegation from Alpha Centauri 30 years ago. She fell in love with my father, a human botanist working on interspecies agricultural projects." Xavier's expression remained measured as he studied her transformed appearance. "The Centaurian biological structure explains your unique insights into cellular regeneration. Their healing capabilities are legendary." Ariel blinked, taken aback by his matter-of-fact response. "You don't seem surprised that I'm part alien." "Kane Innovations has government contracts in exobiology," he said simply. "I'm well aware of the Centaurian presence on Earth, though it's not public knowledge. What surprises me is that you felt the need to hide this." "Seriously?" Ariel laughed incredulously. "The last Centaurian who was exposed publicly ended up in a government facility for research purposes. My mother warned me to be careful." Xavier stepped closer, examining the subtle patterns that emerged on her skin under the UV light, delicate swirls that followed her natural contours. Without asking permission, he gently took her hand, turning it to observe the deeper purple hue at her wrist. "Beautiful," he murmured, his clinical detachment momentarily abandoned. Ariel felt a warmth spread through her at his touch, the purple of her skin deepening further in response. A Centaurian physiological reaction to emotional intensity that she couldn't control. "This explains why your blood samples showed unusual properties," Xavier said, releasing her hand reluctantly. "I had our lab analyze them after your last physical. You tested my blood without telling me?" Ariel stepped back, anger flaring. "Standard protocol for all research personnel working with potentially toxic compounds," he explained, though she detected a hint of apology in his tone. "I was concerned about your safety, not your genetic makeup." The UV lights automatically dimmed as their testing cycle completed, returning Ariel's appearance to its normal human aspect. She felt suddenly vulnerable, exposed in ways beyond the physical. "Does this change things between us?" she asked quietly. Xavier considered her question with characteristic thoroughness. "Yes," he finally answered, "but not in the way you fear. Your Centaurian heritage is an asset, not a liability. The regenerative capabilities of your cellular structure could be revolutionary for our research, particularly for neurological conditions." Like his, Ariel realized. The Denbardi syndrome that was slowly killing him. "I'm not a test subject, Xavier." "No," he agreed, his voice softening. "You're my partner. And now that I understand more about you, I'm even more certain that was the right decision." Later that night, as Ariel prepared to leave for her apartment, she had declined Xavier's offer to live on the Kane campus. He walked her to her car, an unusual gesture that broke their established routine. "Would you have dinner with me tomorrow?" he asked. "Not in the research facility. Not to discuss work. Are you asking me on a date, Xavier Kane?" Ariel smiled, feeling strangely light despite the gravity of her earlier revelation. I believe I am. His usual confidence seemed slightly shaken. Though I should warn you, I haven't done this in some time. I accept, she said, finding his awkwardness unexpectedly endearing. But I have conditions. I would expect nothing less. No business talk. No research discussion, and she hesitated, then continued boldly. No pretending you're not attracted to me because of what I am. Xavier's eyes darkened. I can agree to those terms. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper. Though I should clarify, I'm not attracted to you because of what you are. I'm attracted to you despite trying very hard not to be. The admission hung between them, charged with possibilities neither had fully acknowledged until now. When he leaned down, his intention clear, Ariel didn't pull away. His lips touched hers gently at first, then with growing confidence as she responded. The contact sent a rush of warmth through her, causing the hidden purple patterns beneath her skin to glow faintly even without UV light, a reaction she'd never experienced before. Xavier noticed, his fingers tracing the suddenly visible patterns at her temple with fascination. Remarkable, he murmured against her lips. Very scientific observation, Ariel teased, though her voice trembled slightly. Not everything can be quantified. Dr. Neves. He stepped back, composing himself with visible effort. I'll pick you up tomorrow at 7. As she drove home, Ariel touched her lips, still feeling the imprint of his kiss. She had revealed her deepest secret, and instead of rejection, she'd found acceptance, perhaps even admiration. The man who had once coldly proposed a clinical surrogacy arrangement was now looking at her with something far more dangerous than professional interest. And despite all her carefully constructed defenses, she was beginning to look at him the same way.